Well, folks, let's face it, 2020 has not been a great year. It's been the vanilla ice of years, actually, when you think about it. We've had the COVID-19 pandemic. We've had all the rioting and unrest after the George Floyd murder. All of this stuff causes a lot of us anxiety. But I have to tell you, during the entire run of this nutty, awful year, there's only one time that I was really genuinely, well, if I almost said scared's probably better, worried, intensely worried. And that intense fear lasted for a whole 24 hours. And then I figured out why. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Whittle here with Steve Green and Scott Ott, and this is your right angle on getting punked because we did. Donald Trump had announced that he would begin a series of rallies, and the first one had been sold out. There were talks of 1 million people trying to get tickets for this event. And I tuned into one of the websites that I follow, and I looked and I saw pictures of the arena, which was maybe a fifth full or something. And that's when I felt that electric shock of, this isn't good. Everything I've seen about voter enthusiasm for Donald Trump so far has been through the roof, but this is genuinely something to worry about, because this is what we saw when Hillary Clinton was out there. And I think voter enthusiasm is the entire story. Steve, as it turns out, my deep-seated worry lasted for about 24 hours until I realized that what had happened was that the left had gotten together and simply purchased or reserved anyway. Reserved huge numbers of those seats. That the reason that the stadium was so empty was because so many leftists had reserved places for themselves specifically so that this would be empty. And, I got to tell you, I think it's a little underhanded, but it's the kind of thing that I look at with kind of a grudging admiration, kind of the way I look at Pearl Harbor, as a mean, right, low thing to do. But at the same time, it was competently executed. You got to at least give it that.
And then you go blow them up for doing it.
And then you go blow them up. Exactly. So I'm wondering what your emotional reaction to this piece of prestidigitation was on the part of the left, so that Donald Trump's sort of inaugural rally after the pandemic breaks out was really pretty shocking in terms of optics.
Yeah, it really was. I had a sick feeling. Mine was really on Monday morning. I had a actual existential dread on Monday and Tuesday of last week, which is not me at all. I was supposed to do a video chat. It ended up getting canceled for PJ Media with Steven Cruiser and Brian Preston. And I'd been so looking forward to chatting with those guys because I'd already talked to you guys. And that's kind of when my dread started, not because of our topics, but that's just when it really kicked in. And I'm like, okay, man, I got to talk to some more people who are smart and not worried. And then the thing got canceled. And I'm like, oh, my God, what about? And that's when I realized, as you did, that this thing is totally solvable, because what had gotten to me, Bill, wasn't the realization of, oh, we'd been pranked and they're just going to keep pranking us was my thing. It's so easy to do now on social media, but I came up with an idea, and you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to ask our viewers who have actually attended a Trump rally if they do this. It's so easy to hack a system like this. All you need is an email address. Email addresses are free. You can put together as many free email addresses as you want and reserve all these seats and not show. One person can do this with a modicum of effort. Get rid of 10, 20, 100 seats, whatever. So if you've actually attended a Trump rally, would you jump through a couple of small hoops to attend one again? And that is, instead of just having an email address, you have to provide a credit card number. And that credit card number would put $100 fully refundable deposit on your credit card. And you get refunded as soon as you show up at the rally, where they scan the little barcode that shows up in the confirmation email. Is that a hoop you would jump through? Make it $25, $50, $100, whatever it is. Would you jump through that hoop to protect the president from these progressive pranksters who are trying to make it appear as though you don't possess the enthusiasm that every single one of these primary votes, where Donald Trump gets more votes than Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden, do you possess enough enthusiasm to do that much to put a stop to this kind of a thing? right away. So it would be fairly easy for the Trump team to implement. It would be no charge to you, just a little extra hassle. And this is the kind of proactive thing we need to do in order to prevent future acts like this. So I'm asking you, would you do it?
Scott, Steve's got a very interesting idea, and that would be kind of a filter, basically. And the more money you put on your credit card, the finer that filter gets. If you were asking people to put $20,000 on a credit card, that would be refundable if you show up and blah, blah, blah. But I'm not interested so much in filtering them out as so much as stopping them. And they're very curious to get your ideas on this. I think, as I mentioned in our backstage show, that when you call in and reserve tickets, before you reserve the ticket, you should have to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you don't burst into flame, then you're probably good to go. But that probably violates some kind of civil rights or something. I do think this, though, Scott. This episode is entitled, "Fooled Me Once," and that's basically how it goes. I think on some level, I'm speaking for myself here. When I found out what happened, it increased my enthusiasm for going to a rally quite significantly. Do you get that sense?
Well, I've never wanted to go to any political rally. So that's I've been to political rallies somewhat unwillingly during the time that I was either running a county Republican committee or running for office. And so I've attended some of these things. Not my idea of a good time, although you do meet some nice people there. And, so it's really the personal relationships, not the rally itself, that appeals to me. I don't see what's wrong with the good old fashioned first come, first served, only because it puts a damper on the kind of commitment that it takes to do that. Because if you say President Trump's going to speak in an arena that has 50,000 seats and we can only use 25,000 of these seats, so the first 25,000 people to show up are going to get in, people will line up 2 days in advance. And very few prankster liberals are willing to spend their time sitting on the street for 2 days in hopes that they're going to get into the thing. I heard on the radio a couple of days ago that there was some school teacher somewhere who made a video and encouraged people, not clear whether she was encouraging her colleagues, her neighbors, or her students. But anyway, according to one teenager, every kid in the school then went and booked tickets or reserved tickets to this event, and it became It became a fun thing to do.
Is that right?
That's their idea of a good time. Not so much mine. Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with having people line up outside, and I know they're trying to do the social distancing thing, but have them line up for 6 miles outside. Also, I know at a lot of the events that I attended when I was in the political realm, much more personally, the tickets were actually distributed through local party committees. And so the people who got them were known to the people who handed them out, essentially, as people who were truly committed to the cause, and they distributed them to their friends, whether they were donors or voters or whatever. So I think there are a variety of ways around this. I'm with, you guys, though. I think that there's something, I look at it and go, wow, kind of nobody got hurt, but it was a clever political act of political warfare that looks successful. Downside for them, apparently, if Glenn Beck is to be believed, is that when Fox News broadcast that rally, some 7 million people watched it on TV and had one of the best hours of Fox News ratings that they've ever had.
Yeah,
hey, Bill, can I throw in one more thing? I mentioned the voter enthusiasm thing, and I meant to finish my thought, and I forgot completely to finish this. Joe Biden spent the last 3 months in a hole, and this Punxsutawney Joe guy is eventually going to have to come out and engage in the world again and hit the campaign trail. And right now, Trump's numbers, his poll numbers, look just absolutely horrible. But he's the guy in charge. Everything looks like it's falling apart. But where's the enthusiasm going to come from for this guy? Who, if he were that shuffles notes meme that you see on Twitter and Facebook, you watch his little introductory videos. There might have been one in front of this very segment that people are watching on YouTube. It'd be, "Hi, I'm Joe. Checks notes. Biden." There's the guy is done. He's going to generate voter enthusiasm like Joe Biden.
Yeah, somebody pointed out that while the Trump rally had a lot of empty seats because of this maneuver, Biden had some event that was attended by 20 people, 20, which is remarkable. The thing about, I think Scott's idea from a practical point of view going forward, I think first come, first serve is actually the best possible thing for Donald Trump. And the reason I say that is because not only do you filter out all the people who want to prank the thing, but if you don't know whether there's going to be a seat available or not, chances are you'll go. And if he's got a 50,000 seat arena, he'll not only fill 50,000 seats, there'll be probably 500,000 people in the parking lot. And that's basically what it's about. So I think that's actually a good idea. To the larger issue, it's a sucker punch, and okay. And so now we'll deal with that. And they got their sucker punch in, and I'm sure they had a fun 24 hours with that. But what this reminds me of is how the left used to send people to Trump rallies to start fights because Trump supporters are violent. And prior to that, how they would have to send progressives into Tea Party movements with racially offensive signs because there were no racially offensive signs among the people that the left was absolutely convinced were racist. So since there was no evidence there, we had to manufacture evidence for it. That's basically it. There is no evidence for what we believe, so we have to manufacture evidence for what we believe. And I think that's exactly what we saw. They had to manufacture the idea that Donald Trump doesn't have any support. And they did through chicanery and all the rest of these underhanded techniques. They manufactured an image indicating that President Trump doesn't have the support that he claims he had and that his supporters think he had. But they manufactured it. And if they had to manufacture it, what does that tell you? If Joe Biden can't put 20 people together, that's not because Republicans are buying all the tickets to Joe Biden's events, because nobody wants to go. If the left has to create the illusion through trickery that Donald Trump can't fill a stadium, then not only is that an indication and a confession of how strong he actually is, it is also going to rebound significantly and create much larger crowds in the future because people don't like being tricked like that. They don't like being fooled like that. They don't like getting sucker punched like that. And so again, it seems to me that the left is incapable of passing up a chance to take a short-term gain, and in accompanying that, they get a long-term loss. We saw it with the Gorsuch thing. We saw it with Russia. We saw it with the impeachment thing, all of it. They want their short-term gains. They want it now, and they'll take the shot now. And if it hurts their chances in November, well, they don't seem to care. And actually, that's fine with me too. So we'll see you in November out there, pranksters, because you don't have to get a ticket to vote, you see. And that's going to be a bit of a problem for you going forward. For Steve Green and Scott Ott, I'm Bill Whittle. This show's made possible by the members at BillWhittle.com. We keep saying we'd love to have you, but if you've been watching these for a while and you're not a member, think about it. Okay, we'll see you next week on Right Aim.